It's me again. No. Oh, today you see me, baby shark, 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 shark. Oh, I love children. They are so innocent people. Oh, remember when I was told that this is peekaboo or whatever it is. So today I'm going to talk about mental health in children. And this week, from 3rd to 9th of February 2025, is Children Mental Health. So, and that's why today I'm going to talk about children's mental health. And I'm going to talk about how to maintain a good mental health among children. Like I said, it's Children Mental Health Week, 3rd to 9th of February 2025. All over the world, I think children are the most neglected people. Basically, I'll say the extreme of ages. And today, like I said, we'll be focusing more on the children. I remember growing up, a lot of us will look back and see how growing up was, and then we have a lot of different experiences. And I'm going to talk about how to maintain good mental health among children. But before that, let's listen to some music for baby shark good. I've been in mental health for quite some time now, and I can tell you that a lot of adults, when you see them, you realize that some of the issues that resulted into mental health breakdown can be traced back to their childhood experience. A lot of times, some of them experiences different form of abuse, ranging from physical abuse, domestic abuse, sexual abuses, and a lot of childhood traumatic experiences. But let's talk about ways to keep children's mental health intact or to maintain a good mental health among children. I'm going to itemize it so it makes it clearer. One is encouraging open communication. Most often as an adult, we don't really listen to children, and then they tend to bottle their emotions. They tend to keep things to themselves, and which jeopardize it affects how they relate with adults. And how do you encourage open communication? One is by listening actively. When you listen to a child actively, it tends to give them that freedom, and it validates whatever they may be thinking, and they feel it's good to talk. And two is also by sometimes when you also listen, apart from listening actively, you also want to validate their emotions. When a child is showing some emotions, most of the time we tend to neglect it, but as an adult, when you validate their emotions, that helps them to have an open communication with you. And when you also maintain a safe environment, that helps a child to have an open communication with you. And I can assure you that when you encourage open communication among children, you are the way to helping them to maintain a good mental health. Like I said, number one is encouraging open communication. Two is promoting positive relationship. Children also like love. They want to be loved just like every other person. And when you promote a positive relationship with children or among children, it tends to also help them to maintain a good mental health. And how do you promote positive relationship? One is by social connection. A lot of times, I think in recent time now, you see a lot of people just wanting to maintain their nuclear family. I remember growing up where we travel to our cousins, we go to our different family members, we meet my first cousins, my second cousins, my niece. So with that interaction, it tends to foster a positive relationship. But sometimes, more often than not, now you see a lot of person just living by themselves, which in itself does not help a child to develop positively in terms of their mental health. And that's why even as an adult, you see, because of the gaps, it tends to affect some people even in their adulthood. So encouraging social connection is also a way to maintain a good mental health for children. Another way to promote a positive relationship is spending quality time with children. Just like we want to spend time with our loved ones and all of that, when you spend a quality time with children, watch their cartoon with them, do their own work with them, all of this makes a child feel loved, and that helps them to continue to have that positive relationship, which makes them feel well enough and well bonded, and overall promoting their mental health in a positive manner. Number 3 is encourage healthy habits. Researchers have shown that children as well, when they maintain a good routine, it helps to build their mental well-being. So invariably it means that when you have a child, it's good to help them to maintain a regular routine, and then help them to have physical activities. A lot of times we realize that people have children who just go to school, from school come back home, and they remain in the house until the next day and all. But when you make them have some physical activities, such as going for swimming, go to park, go to play football, interact with other kids where they are able to play, it tends to also help them in terms of their mental health. And more importantly, sleeping habits. When you have a child to maintain a good sleeping habit, it's a way to encouraging them to having a routine. And when you do all of this, it tends to promote their mental health. So number 4 on how to maintain or to make sure your child have a good mental well-being is to teach coping skills. Children are not too small to learn how to cope or learn how to be taught some coping skills, and that sometimes they learn it naturally from you as an adult or as a parent on how you cope when you're under stress. So you should try to imbibe in children how to cope when they're under distress, and by so doing you're helping them to be resilient. And another thing you could do in that regard is to help them in problem solving. A lot of times we just want to leave children to do things on their own, but sometimes when you encourage them, teach them on how to cope with with stresses, teach them how to go about problem solving, it tends to help them to have a good mental health. 5, which I will drop at that for today, is to monitor and address mental health concern. Most often, if you are very used to your children, you should be able to monitor early signs of a decline in their mental health, such as their performances in school, their eating habits, their learning habits, and all. And when you do observe that, do not hesitate to seek for professional advice. A lot of times we tend not to seek for professional advice early, and sometimes, just like people will say, when you delay a thing, it becomes so worse in the future. And a lot of times when we see adults who have mental breakdown, you realize that sometimes they've presented all of these symptoms while they're young, but because it's been neglected, it degenerated and it deteriorated so bad that at adulthood it became a significant problem. So what I'm saying is, in order for you to at least be watchful about or to keep your children's mental health, it is important to understand them very well, watch any early warning signs, seek professional advice, and get a lot of mental health resources. Mental health is just like any other illness, where, say for instance, I'll say when someone have cough or have, say, pneumonia or other physical disease, the same way you're going to attend to it is the same way when you see any signs that your children might be declining in mental health. So just to conclude, what have I said today? In order for us to maintain good mental health among children, I've mentioned 5 factors. 1 is to encourage open communication. 2 is to promote positive relationship. 3, I've talked about encouraging good habits, which I mentioned ethic, and then 4 is about teaching them about coping skills, and 5 is to monitor and address any mental health concern. And this is going to be it on today's episode. It's World Children's Mental Health Week, and I wish and hope that our children enjoys good health both physically and mentally. See you, baby shark. Do 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 do.